I talked to my aunts about it, and it's like, what was that time like? They get quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no, because it was ground zero. You know what I'm saying?
So, Chairman, once they come to see you, what was it about them that made you confident that this film was in the right hands?
Similar to what I said earlier about, I don't want to throw a lid on it because it's the relationship is ongoing. Like even as we speak, two major dates with our organization, the Black Panther Party Cubs, are August 30th and December the 4th. August 30th being the Chairman Fred Streets Party, the birthday of Chairman Fred Hampton. December 4th is International Revolutionary Day, a day in which we say that's when two of our twin towers, quote unquote, fell. To my 21-year-old Chairman Fred, 22-year-old Defense Captain Mark Clark. Me and Ryan talking that day and so many other days, Daniel, Dominique, calling, and other cast members, their involvement off the grid, not confined to the 9 to 5, discussions, and just give the background. We hit on some, the political significance of some things that Ryan pointed out. The Berkeley flea market. That's right. I mean, technically it's in Berkeley, but it's like part of Oakland. It's like you talk about L.A. the swap meet. So there's certain things. Say, okay, you do this. That sticks in your mind to heart. And we say, when I organize, the streets are our office. Our work hours are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when we caught that glimpse, the time we at the Hampton House where I'm at now, our dialogue and the tug and pull, the struggles, and there was some heated struggles, and and also we got war wounds. So say we talk about myself, comrades, and like even the comrades that Ryan had mentioned, members of the Black Panther Party. So we talking about not just as what they say in the industry, movie industry, is a period piece. But in addition, this is also a relevant piece. We still have cases, in particular, Jerry O'Dinga Dunnigan, prison number C-018559, who's still locked up, who directly in regards to William O'Neill's role. We got people who were actually tortured, about William O'Neill. So these are sensitive subjects to talk about, and we say handle with care. There have been a number of attempts brought to us before, and a lot of people say, man, it's principle how y'all turn stuff down under contested conditions. Overtures have been brought to us when we ain't had no resources. I don't want to go into the long stories, but the battles and the hold on to it, even even when people who were in the Panther Party, and I distinguish those that are Black Panthers and those that were in the Panther Party, even when family members would say, just go for the easy out, let this go, don't make a big deal about this. But so in the ongoing relationship that we have now, regardless of whatever time, say, well, wait a minute, that poster came out. That you can't have that with this. That's a contradiction. In recognizing that there are cases where our political position may clash or contend with something that may be creatively speaking advantageous. This is a great scene for a movie, but say, wait a minute, it clashes with our political position. Who the chairman speaks with. You talking about an organizer that when he went to go meet with organizations, who he took, who he didn't take with him. What they, he would do like role plays. He would set the seats like chairs down. That door open, this door closed. It may vary between who he dealing with. So again, ongoing, the process is ever developing.
Yeah, that's why this is such a different kind of film. Of course, we've seen, biopics before and those kind of things. And this is not a strict biography necessarily, but it's nevertheless real things that happen to real people. And I know that for those who are not familiar with your personal story, there's a lot of shit that you went through beyond just the assassination of your father, about how you have yourself been a target of the U.S. government for a long time. And yes. I hope that this movie opens up the door so that people will not just take this as of what happened to Fred Hampton, but to understand government and political roles about what they did to oppress, suppress, and ultimately try to kill the liberation of a people. That's a whole thing and a whole nother conversation that we could certainly have. And I do want to get into some of that for sure. But for now, let's talk about Daniel's performance. It was extraordinary. I mean, it really was, especially knowing that he had to get to me, the most impressive part was the voice. That was what blew me away, is that he sounds literally like your dad. Ryan, I mean, you've worked with Daniel, you worked with him on Black Panther. You've seen how his career has developed. How would you characterize his performance in this movie?
How would I characterize Daniel's performance? I mean, it's a phenomenal performance. He's exceptional at what he does. Just as a craftsman, he's very experienced, very well trained, and that's just like those are like the tangible qualities of him as a guy. Like I grew up playing football. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that you can teach somebody. Certain things you can't teach. You know what I mean? Like that. Those are the intangibles, right? He's got all of the tangibles, like like in terms of putting his time in and learning the craft and that. But he also has like a very deep well of intangibles as a human being. As a guy, and he's bringing that to every role. And this role meant something to him. Like it meant something to him on a level that he often doesn't get into in interviews. like this. He's gone there with Chairman Junior. I know he has. You know what I mean? I know Chairman saw in him quickly with what I saw him in him as a person years back when we first met. But just to give you a taste of like who he is, Shaka said that he wanted to work with Daniel for this role. And I was working with Daniel at the time. Like Black Panther wasn't out yet. We were finishing it, and so I made the introduction between the two guys, and one of the first things Daniel did was he was like, "Yo, I can't play this role if I don't come to Oakland. I gotta go to Oakland first." And oftentimes Chairman would talk about Oakland being like Mecca for a Black Panther, and for him to make that, like, he didn't say Chicago first because he knew he was gonna get there, but he was like, I gotta go there first, and he came out and stayed with us, and he was still debating whether or not he was gonna take this, you know what I mean? Like he was still going back and forth, and he wanted to go to the locations. Man, where'd they put the stop sign up at? And where they, he went and fortunately my family knew these things. They knew things that they never shared with me, and Chairman will get into this, but my aunts and my uncle, like it's some stuff with the party they don't like to talk about, because there is trauma there. The first dead body my mom ever saw was Bobby Hutton, who was a child, you know what I mean? Like when you think about that, I talk to my aunts about it, and it's like, what was that time like? They get quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no, because it was ground zero. You know what I'm saying? And it just so worked out that I could show him these things. But I learned the stop sign went up a lot closer to my grandma's house than I thought. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh man, this corner is a corner I used to run across as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And to think that the Panthers was like, yo, I'm gonna put a stop sign up that's still there to this day. You know what I mean? May have well saved my life. You know what I'm saying? It was heavy, and to be experiencing that with a guy who was born halfway across the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, but was still tapped in, and knowing that the Panther struggle was an international struggle. It was heavy. And that's just like a it's to scratch the surface on who he is as a person. You know what I'm saying? To understand. And then I'll let Chairman talk to you about what happened the first day they met. But we got going down the road, and Chairman and Mama Kaluuya still hadn't signed on, still haven't given us the green light. And one day Chairman was like, "Hey, check this out. I don't know how y'all do it with movies or whatever. But at what point are these actors who's supposed to portray us? At what point are they gonna come see us? Like, you're like, y'all been here, you know what I'm saying? But these people that saying these lines in the script, I'm seeing like, at what point are they gonna come And it was like, uh-oh, you know, so we had to, you know, we had to get the flights organized, you know what I'm saying? Like get everything squared away, you know, and they had a chance to sit down and talk.